One question got me an extra $20,000. When I got promoted a number of years ago when I was working in corporate, I was really excited about the promotion, recognized that I'd done the work. And then my boss told me the salary number for the new role, and I was super disappointed. No two ways about it, because I had in my head expected that I was going to be getting paid more. And all of a sudden, that money I'd been spending in advance in my mind just wasn't going to be there. And I went back to my desk and I felt guilty for feeling disappointed because I was like, I've been promoted. I should be really grateful for this. I'm going to look really ungrateful because I didn't look happy enough. And then I sat and thought about it and I was like, I don't think this is right. And I literally ruminated on this for about half an hour, just trying to work up the courage to go and talk to my boss about whether or not that number was really the right number. And it was hard, and I didn't want to be seen to be ungrateful. I didn't want to be seen to be a troublemaker. I didn't want him to tell other people in management that I was asking whether or not the salary was correct because it might make me look bad. But I swallowed all of that and I went back into his office and I said, is that number actually right? Has it been benchmarked against other people in this role level? And, my boss is a fair guy, and he said, I'll go and check it with HR. And that sort of set me off on a bit of a spiral for the rest of the afternoon, wondering what other people would think about me and how people might be judging me. But the next morning he called me into his office and he said, yeah, you were right. They made a mistake. They hadn't benchmarked you against the role and you're going to get paid $20,000 more than we originally offered you. And I was delighted, also a little bit annoyed because, why had nobody checked this? Why is it me having to go to them to ask if the number's right? But that was a really stark reminder for me that you do not get ahead in salary, in work, anything, if you're not willing to advocate for yourself. If I had stayed quiet just because it was more comfortable not to go and have that conversation with my boss, I would have earned $20,000 less that year. And that would have carried through my entire career because it would have been $20,000 less the next year. Even if I did get a little bit of a pay bump, I'd still be starting from that point behind. So every time you are not advocating for more money, you're putting yourself that little bit further back. And, the gender pay gap shows that women are not as good at doing this as men because the chances are that you're going to be getting paid less if you're a woman. And that's even if you're in the same role. Don't come at me in the comments with all the bullshit about how it's because women do different kinds of work. That's a part of it in some places. But in a lot of companies, when they benchmark the same roles, the women are also getting paid less. So whether or not you like that, it's a fact. And so as women, we have to learn to advocate for ourselves and advocate for more money. If that makes you feel deeply uncomfortable and the thought of actually going and speaking to your boss about money, you're just like, oh, no, we don't do that. We don't talk about money. You're going to be behind. So head on over to my bio, book a call with me, and let's start strategizing how you can actually ask for that pay rise that you deserve.